win this battle. Let's go.
Come on, Storm. Back to work. Let's hurry, okay? People are dying. See you down there.
Well done, everybody. We can collectively take credit for that because we worked as a team. We used our hearts and our minds to defeat the enemy with minimal loss or damage.
Take me far away.
Dance. Think I better dance now. Dance.
Dance, 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 dance.
Think I better dance now. Dance now.
Midnight creeps so slowly into hearts of men who need more than they get. Daylight seems so bad to a woman who has made too many bets. The hero stares you in the face and says, baby, it don't work.
You say you're pissed, no, you don't care.
You dance and she does.
Think I better dance now. Dance now. Dance now.
Sound fly through the night. I chase my battle dreams to boogie wonderland.
Namaste and like catch my family, and welcome. I have a very esteemed guest here, Mr. Jimmy Church. How are you doing, brother?
Esteemed.
Esteemed. Listen.
Esteemed. How you doing, Rion? What's going on, brother?
No, I'm just excited about, we got a huge event coming up in March, March 29th and 30th. And, the first time we really hung out was in Alaska, right? On that cruise.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Hanging out with with Rise of the Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm around a group of people that I'm comfortable with, and they are comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and anything can be discussed.
Right.
Any thought, any experience, any ideas, just things, right? I'm in my zone. I'm in my, that's my bliss world. That's my bliss bubble. And I get really excited about that because I think that all of us, when we walk around in public or we're around people that we don't know very well or things like that, that we filter, right? We filter, we censor ourselves. You don't necessarily, Rion, well, maybe you do. I don't know if you go shopping and you step up to the cashier and go, man, this morning hanging out with the Galactic Federation, man. And let me tell you something, Team Light, you know what I mean?
No,
but
no.
when you're around people that you just are comfortable with, you feel the electricity go up your legs and you're just there. And we're going to do that March 28th and 29th in Sedona. I've got a few plans that I've made in and around the event.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been talking about this quite a bit. So yeah, we've got the prom, right? We've got Palmer.
You got Palmer. We got the
We've got
prom.
Palmer.
Dude, I read it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna waka, man.
Dude,
Waka.
I told him, and I was like, I rented out the gymnasium, and I wanted to do I'm gonna get prom decorations, like the little, and have a red carpet and people take prom photos. I'm gonna do the whole thing. So
I'm already picking out some galactic tux.
I know,
I'm thinking through this a little bit, but I'm really looking forward to it. And so You put together an amazing lineup of
Mhm.
presenters and speakers, and they're all friends, we're all family. This is a circle,
Yes.
the circle of trust, and it's going to be great. I really, not only am I looking forward to it, but it's Sedona too as well.
Right. 100%.
It's the collection of people, but it's Sedona, man. It's a magical place, and
Mhm.
it's beautiful, right? Beautiful. You pull into town. It trip on this. I'm going to ask you something.
Mhm.
Outside of Sedona, when you're in the desert, it's like one color, blah,
Right.
and then you pull into Sedona, and it's like a panchromatic painting, right?
Yes.
That unveils itself, and the colors and the sensory thing that happens.
Mhm.
It's glowing, and that city comes alive, doesn't it? Do you ever get tired of it?
It's like driving through a postcard.
It is.
I mean, it's like everywhere. I know the thing about living in Sedona, sometimes you take it for granted. Just kind of like when people that live at the beach and they kind of take it for granted when they're like, they don't get to wake up and see the ocean. It's the same thing in Sedona. It's just that as of late, especially, in preparation for not only this conference, but all of the great changes on Earth right now, a lot of the people that live here, we're really being activated. I don't know if you've had similar things recently in the past 3 weeks, but there are huge shifts inbound. And I know that in Sedona, man, I know it felt like, we were talking about the spiritual stuff before we got on here and started ripping, but I do feel some very huge changes happening, not only in the States, but on the planet in a very good way. But I do feel in Sedona, you're almost living on a planetary amplifier. So it's
Yeah,
almost like
for
you
sure.
feel the vibration a little bit before everyone else. And sometimes it's a roller coaster out here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you've always kind of got to keep your emotions in check a little bit
Hmm.
because it is so powerful. You mentioned the last 3 weeks. I just got back from Peru this week, and I was down there for 3 weeks.
Hmm.
And so, with all the research and exploring and doing everything that I was doing down there, my emails blowing up. I'm getting text and then stuff sent to me about what is going on in the community. And
Right.
here I am. You've been there. It's one of the most spiritual, beautiful places on the planet, if not the
Indeed.
most spiritual and beautiful place on the
Mhm.
planet.
Yes.
And I'm there, and with everything, I'm on the top of a mountain, and I'm getting this stuff, and I'm reading it,
Mhm.
and I felt so disconnected, thinking, man, the world is going crazy,
Yes.
but I'm here in beautiful Peru, and I need to put this stuff to the side and enjoy the moment that I am in. I
Right.
get back from Peru this week, and I had to do all the follow up and talk and speak and do shows and my shows as well,
Right.
speaking about everything that was going on, and of course, front and center. Now, you're interviewing me. This is where I'm going to be the host. I'm going to turn this around on you,
Okay. Thank you.
and throw this back at you. Everybody, this is just an open conversation between friends. Okay,
Yes.
is this, the alien this invasion, this thing that was supposed to happen on December 3rd?
Mhm.
And yeah, it caught on and went a little bit viral, got into the media. It certainly was all over the community, and people coming at me going, okay, is this going to happen? What do you think? What are you going to do?
Mm.
And then they laid out December 4th as a possibility. So I got excited, I
Mhm.
packed my Jeep, I threw a generator in there.
Yeah. Get
Um,
ready to go.
yeah, yeah, man, I got
Yeah.
I got my tent, my sleeping
Yeah.
bag, my food, couple flashlights, my solar panels,
Yep.
and I'm ready to go, man. I'm let's do this.
Mhm.
And December 3rd just kind of came and went.
Yes.
How did you react to this December 3rd alien encounter?
Well, the most interesting about that is I didn't really get the December 3rd thing. What I keep getting from the beings that, sometimes being gifted, like many of you as star seeds and empaths are, sometimes we like to turn our gifts on and off. Sometimes it's too much. What I can say for everyone on Earth is that if you do have gifts and you are one of us, Starseed, Jimmy, you are. That's why you're out there in Peru and you keep going back to getting your DNA activated.
For sure.
Yeah, there's something in you that's like, hey, I'm working on myself. I'm energetically updating my system, right?
But you're avoiding the question.
No,
So
no,
I'm
what
going to ask it. Wait. I'm going to ask it again.
Okay.
What was your reaction? Not your no. I don't want to. We can talk about that later.
Mm.
When you started to see this, what went through your mind? Did you go, "Pff," or what did you think?
When, I mean, to be honest with you, some of the information about some of these things about December 3rd, what I personally felt was because, we kind of have our own pickup dates, let's just say, or when we feel that, our true star family will show up. I don't think anything is going to be really relevant that's not one of our spacecraft, if it's not some sort of shock and awe campaign until probably 27. That's how I feel. So,
Okay, but again, you avoided the question. I'm going to get it out of you. This is my job,
no,
Rion.
no, get it, dig
I'm
it.
going to
My
get.
thing is that
I'm going to get it out
I
of you. I'm
didn't
going to get
know
it
there
out.
was an alien
Did you?
invasion December 3rd. That's what I'm trying to
Right?
say.
That's what I'm saying. Did you just like mentally roll your eyes and go, man?
PSYOP.
Everybody just relax. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I felt like it was a psyop, and I felt like, whenever they do big changes on this earth, what do? So war over here, they're changing
Right.
things over here. Distraction over here, they're changing the financial system. Don't look over here, pay attention. So what I'm trying to say is that I think a lot of us are so used to the bait and switch that even throwing a ET UFO, or whatever this is, alien invasion out, I mean, we've been through so much, Jimmy. Well,
We have. We
okay,
have.
you know what I mean? So pull some more wool over my eyes.
Right.
No, I
No,
don't,
that's exactly what happened. And here's the other straight. If there is a weird development out of that,
Mhm.
it causes more people to look up outside of
Yes.
our community.
Mhm.
Our community, we're preaching to the choir.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. We don't need to, you know.
Right.
But outside of our community, it allows more people to ponder, look up to the stars,
Mhm.
and so when the word of something like this gets out, combined with, and here's the other point, over the last 3 weeks, these drones,
Right.
right, over all of these sensitive sites over Washington D.C. and Langley, and we've
Mhm.
got orbs in Syria. The recent video that just surfaced out of Manchester, England, at the airport with the orb on the runway that takes off into the sky, shot by a pilot. People see that, and now they are aware. We've got this huge news story. The FBI is involved now with.
Mhm.
Mystery drones over New Jersey. I don't think any of this would have been news if people weren't suddenly looking and seeing
Right.
stuff that they're starting to question. And that's
Mhm.
like the indirect result of all of this. It's people outside of our community going, huh, I'm starting to see some pretty weird stuff. I was going to use a bad word. I'm
Yeah,
starting
yeah.
to see some pretty weird stuff going on
Yeah.
that it wasn't like this before. And that's what I
Mhm.
appreciate about all of this is outside of our community, the awareness is being lifted up higher and higher.
Right. There are some things that I do feel are inevitables. I know that in some of the meetings that I've been a part of, we'll keep it real, but it's more like upper dimensional meditation, dream time. The main thing that they're trying to figure out is with the free will of this planet, with the people that are awake and with the people that are waking up, what is in our best interest and how we want this to roll out as far as disclosure, instead of relying on certain agencies that have basically lied to us since, for the past 80 years. So you have to realize
Mhm.
if you show up here as let's just say a more evolved species, right? And you think, oh, I'll go to the government and talk to them and we'll give them the information. They'll share it with the public. On this planet, it's not how it works. And I think that you probably know more about that than most. But what I'm trying to say is that how are we doing it? Probably like the Stephen Greer way, which is more contact with the public, civilian realm, getting these downloads and getting these people up to date with what is really going on. My main thing is that in studying some of these phenomenons and obviously some of these different craft that the U.S. military and Solar Warden and some of these different projects have, my thing is that I just don't want to feel like we're being duped by, there's U.S. pilots flying these Tic Tacs. We think it's little gray, gray alien men or whatever it is, where it may be. And there was some interview with a guy who was an Air Force pilot. I'll try to find it and send it to you, but he was flying a Tic Tac and didn't know that they were reporting the Tic Tac as an ET vessel. He goes, "That's us." Like the
Well,
yeah. I mean, the pilot did it. Go ahead.
that kind of stuff has to be going on. Now there's a few ways to look at that. So let's go direct. I live out here in Palmdale.
Right.
So down the street from my house is Lockheed Skunk Works.
Yes,
Also,
of
there's
course.
Air Force Plant 42, Northrop Grumman, NASA. 1 mile. You can go upstairs in my house, out of my balcony, off of my master bedroom, and look at the runway. Okay,
Wow.
it's right there. And then 7 miles up to the north is Edwards Air Force Base. That's a testing facility. It's not, it doesn't have attack squadrons of fighter jets. It's a testing and training facility.
Right.
So I can watch from my house planes take off, transport planes. They don't even get altitude. They turn and land at Edwards. They take off from here, land at Edwards. They're taking stuff over there and testing it. Now, when you present an idea like that, of course, right? And so if a civilian sees a craft like that in the sky, our government wants that reported as a UFO.
Right.
They don't want anybody to know that we're test flying a Tic Tac or some anti-gravitic platform. No,
Right.
no. Let that go out as a UFO. Let the crazy people talk about it.
Remember that conversation we got on the cruise, and you were interviewing that one gentleman who was trying to push the narrative about the UAP, and you're like, "Hey, look, dude, we're cool with UFO now," and he's like, "No, UAP is the new."
Yeah, let's not name names here, but I got
I'm not.
I got a little heated.
You got
at
a little
that.
heated, and
I did.
honestly,
I did.
that was one of the reasons I was like, "Jimmy, you're the man," because I was sitting there. Everything you were saying is what I was thinking. I was like, it was almost like the new met the old. We're not going to say who, but what I'm
Right.
trying to say is that there's a narrative now where our generations and younger, we're asking very specific questions, and that those old answers are no longer working for us. We need specifics. We need the rhyme and the reason of how these things are functioning. The
That's right.
population is ready for it now, is what I'm saying. Maybe not 4
Yeah,
years
for
ago,
sure.
but right now, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. When I was in school for broadcast and journalism,
Mhm.
one of our teachers, professors, worked for, I'll just say it, I don't give a crap, CNN.
Mhm.
And he was teaching like a 2 or 3 week segment of a semester.
Mhm.
And anyway, so we're talking about careers and stuff, and I said, and the process of a newsroom and what a news director does and how you present
Mhm.
stories, or you're given something to go and do, right?
Mhm.
And I said some things you can't make up. I knew what I wanted to do, which is this. I
Right.
wanted to host Coast to Coast. I wanted to, get on Ancient Aliens. I had things that, whatever, I wanted to be
Right.
a voice for the community. So, that was before Ancient Aliens, actually. But anyway, I wanted to do this kind of stuff. And I said to him, I go, now, what if you went to your news director because you had a story about a UFO in Riverside and somebody that had met, and he goes, wait, what? I said, well, how would you present that to you? He goes, I wouldn't present that. UFOs and aliens are the kiss of death in broadcast. It's the
Oh.
start, the end and start of your career. The start and end of your career. And I went, well, I know what I want to do then, right? And
Right. Yeah.
now, so I go off. I don't need to, talk about my career and stuff. Everybody
Mhm.
knows what I have done.
Mhm.
And when I started this, both with Fade to Black and Coast to Coast and some of the TV stuff I was doing early on, maybe 10, 12 years ago, um, it wasn't a comfortable zone for broadcast. It was still
On the fringe.
laughed at.
Yeah.
And so I had ABC News come out to my studio, ABC,
Mhm.
to do an interview. They contacted me and wanted to do an interview. And I said, man, don't make fun of me. No, this is serious stuff, man. I was like, okay, all right. So they come out and we shoot in my studio and do this interview. And I said to the guy, and his questions were pretty solid. Okay, they were
Mhm.
pretty solid. And I said to him, I felt good. I said to him afterwards, I go, man, do not play the X Files music. Oh no, no, this is a serious. I said, okay. That night on the news,
X
right?
Files.
Yeah. This is nationwide. And so the next day, this interview goes out like
Everywhere.
on every ABC station across the country, every Good Morning America or whatever they do in the morning on ABC, they played it. And I was I was like, that's the last mainstream thing that I do.
Right.
They just and so I'm in this for the good fight. I'm in this
Right.
for the community. I'm in this for my own experiences. I'm in this for my mom and every and that was my goal. And I
Right.
stuck to it. I didn't ever envision, Rion, a day like today where suddenly hearings in Washington D.C. and experiencers talking about what's going on and mainstream news and CNN and Fox and and New York Times. I didn't see that coming. Now suddenly I'm on the right side of history.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to come at me now for my opinions, and I get contacted by the mainstream media all the time, and I kind of shut them down, because of
Mhm.
what I went through before. I've been at this for a long time.
Right.
I was interviewed by way before where we are today. I was out there with everybody else,
Mhm.
the Stan Friedmans of the world, fighting the good fight and facing the attacks and the ridicule and the teasing and the personal attacks on individuals. We were rolling that rock uphill for a long time. Now suddenly everybody wants to be along for the ride.
Right.
I was interviewed by the BBC a couple of years ago, and and that interview never aired because I was pissed off. And I went right at him. You, right? I'm pointing at the
Oh yeah,
camera,
you're
talking to,
going right. You're
and
going right at him.
and
Yeah.
it's just the way. And I'm happy about where things are today. For me personally, a little bit, but I'm overjoyed because for the community, for those that have said for years, um, uh, I can't talk to my husband. I can't
Mhm.
talk to my children. I can't talk to my wife. I can't talk to my I've been holding this stuff in. And now it's okay for them to have these ideas or to
Right.
share their experiences. And that's where I'm at today. And I would rather ride that wave, the
Mhm.
wave of the community, than jump on board with the media and suddenly be their spokesperson and their talking head. I will
Right.
continue to do what I do.
I think that's relevant not only now, but I think with the integrity of the information that you share, the way you share it, the questions you ask. One of the main reasons, as a voice of reason, which I thought would be not only relevant for Rise of the Guardians, but for future, partnerships moving forward, was someone who's going to ask the difficult questions, someone who is grounded, someone who has a database of, you know, content. This is not a new subject to you. So when somebody says something, your brain's referencing 15 other things that you've already either interviewed or heard. So it's a great depth of knowledge. And that's why I thought you'd be perfect, not only for Rise of the Guardians, but also in the future with what you are doing. this is what the people need. The people need an outlet in which they can learn. I think that's why Joe Rogan has been so successful, is because people wanted to listen to that podcast and learn about subjects that they were never taught about by him just being them asking questions to very smart, people that have a certain, forte for whatever the information is.
But
Specifically,
with that,
with
let me jump in there if I may. Uh, Joe Rogan's a really good example of this because Joe Rogan has come and gone a few times on this subject. He quit a TV show that he was doing about contact and ET because he felt that the people that he was interviewing were full of doo doo, and that so he backed off on that, quit the TV show, stopped doing for a number of years interviews and conversations on his podcast about the subject of ET and contact. And today, I just saw a clip yesterday of Joe with, he was talking to a comedian. It wasn't somebody from our community, but he asked them what they thought about ET and contact. The guest, the comedian, flips it back over on Joe. Well, what do you think? And he goes, man, I'm 100% all in. We are being visited. Well, I am 100% in. And that people see that. He's got the biggest podcast in the world, right?
Yep.
And so people see that and they respond to it. That
Yes.
completely outside of our community. I mean, this is a whole
There's
nother.
too much evidence. I mean, you're dealing with intelligence at some level. You see, after the 150th video you've seen, you're like, listen, even if there was a complete, I'm not saying that a lot of the information out there isn't, let's just say compromised, and I'm not saying that there are certain individuals that have other motivations, but I'm saying the real experts, the real data, the real flight footage, the real interviews with the pilots that aren't even awake or even like, I don't know how to explain this to you. I saw this out my window, flying it in my airplane. I don't know what to tell you about this. This is what we filmed. This is what I saw. That sort of data is really what should be kind of leaning on everyone towards waking up. My main thing is with disclosure is you slowly start waking everyone up. And I think everyone's waking up in the masses right now. But with that disclosure, it's good because guess what happens? It limits the shock and awe campaign that whatever power on this planet can do to try to bamboozle a bunch of people into fear, into believing a specific narrative.
Right.
You have a bunch of people that are already been awake for 10, 15, 20 years. These news agencies, even these governments, don't realize how educated these people are who've actually gone online and just found someone that they liked and listened to all the interviews they've given, to all the data, to all the scientists. These guys are going to show up here on mainstream narrative. And like I like this one quote by Emery Smith interviewing John Lear, I believe, from Gaia. There's something about Lear, man, when he was being interviewed at his house, and he goes, let me tell you something. Like the way you can tell some people are real and some people are full of beans. There was something with him specifically. He started talking about the moon. He started talking about, that's not a natural formation. That, it rang like a bell. He starts, naming all these things, not to get too far down the rabbit hole, but there are some really educated people out there that have actually shown and shared a lot of information that makes a lot of sense. So,
well, John Lear is a pretty good example because of his CV and his background. Of course, the Learjet and his dad and that company. Yes, he's the son, and he grew up a pilot and flew for the CIA. Was flying secret missions, transporting stuff into Lebanon and into Central and South America, and just doing some really, really crazy. That part of his background is legit. And so when somebody suddenly is revealing this kind of information, you got to look at the pedigree. You got to see where this is coming from.
Yep.
And there may be something to it. Well, I'll say this. I don't know exactly what year are we in? We're in 2024, right? 2025. So maybe 7 years ago, I'm with I'm doing a Fade to Black conference, right? We've got 300 or 400 people there, and this is up in the Northwest in Washington. And so the conference is going on. I think Jason Quit actually was speaking, and I needed some alone time, and I walk out of the conference center. I go out and I sit at this picnic table, and I have maybe 30 people around me, and I got a pair of binoculars. And sitting next to me, speaking of street cred, is Steve Murillo. And Steve, who was the state director of MUFON here in California for 13 years, but he also graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy. Okay, went from that after graduation into the Marine Corps as a fighter pilot. Okay, now very cool guy, very smart guy, and he's one of my close friends. But he's sitting next to me, and we're talking. And I've got this pair of binoculars. It's on a little tripod. I'm looking at birds. And this is what happens. I'm just enjoying my Jimmy alone time and sitting with my friend and stuff. And somebody was over here. There's a pickup basketball game going on. So there's 4 or 5 people over here. And there's like 30 people around me. And at that moment, in the sky, this is 3:00 in the afternoon. There's no clouds. It's just a blue sky. This giant object appears, and it comes out from behind this mountain, and it's like 400 feet tall, and I call it the beer can, and it's spinning, and it's moving across very slowly, and it was black, had like a chrome top and a chrome bottom, but it was like a beer can, and it had a silver. It was huge,
Like a cigar shape.
huge. No, a can.
A soda can.
A can, a beer can.
Okay.
No saucer, no cigar, no oval, a beer can. And it's like 400 feet tall, maybe 150 feet wide. It's like 15 miles away. And I know that because of the mountain that it came out from behind. And I'm looking at it my hair just what? And I'm looking at it in the binoculars, and I jump up and I yell, video, pictures, and people are scrambling around and things. And anyway, I come back and I look with my naked eye, and it's just a little black dot out there, but I could see the sun, and I could see that little circle spinning, and it's reflecting. Steve sitting next to me goes, "Man, I see it. It's spinning. And I go back to the binoculars, and now it's like 10 seconds later from when I first saw it, and I just scan it top to bottom. I burn it into my just it's perfectly in focus. Yeah, it's perfectly in focus. It's laser the sun, and it's what? And I come back off, and I look at it with my naked eye, and I see it. And as I come back to the binoculars, and I thought we were going to see it for about an hour. It was moving so slowly, and no clouds, and it was majestic, man. It was the holy grail of UFO sightings. And I come back to the binoculars, and as I'm coming up to the binoculars, Steve goes, "It phased out. It disappeared." What? And I'm looking, it's gone. And I come back out, and it ain't there. It disappeared.
Right.
Now, I don't know. I need to be very clear here. I don't know what I saw. I don't know if it was us, if it was them. I don't know if it was interdimensional. I don't know anything. All I know is what we are told is bullshit. And that right there is going to force me into getting the answers to the questions that are flooding into, and that I was on the right path, and that the community needs to be supported here because of that. I don't know, but I'm going to be the hero here. I'm going to go on the hero's journey.
Yes.
And I am going to get to the end of this road. And I'm going to
Mhm.
do it for all of those out there that have been ridiculed and teased. No matter what anybody says to me, Rion, about what I saw, it's not going to change what I saw.
100%.
I'm not crazy. We all saw it together, thank God, right? If I would have saw that by myself,
Your
it's just
brain
a
could've-
story.
Nah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just a
yeah.
story. It's just
Yeah,
a
yeah,
story.
yeah.
It's the fish was this big, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that's what but we all saw it together. And that's why I'm on this mission. And so
Mhm.
when you hear somebody talk about something that they've seen in the sky, and people want to go, well, man, that's a couple of fishermen in a swamp in Louisiana. Why they're making it up? No, we all have the opportunity to see something if you're looking up. Now, and I'm going to spin this back to you.
Mhm.
That didn't show up in the news. I went right on Coast to Coast and talked about this story. I
Mhm.
posted, I did everything that I could to get this out there. Did I hear from Fox? Did I hear from CNN? Did I hear from the BBC? Did I hear from MSNBC, ABC, CBS? Right? Did
Mhm.
I hear from it? No, I did not. And I have a big audience, right?
Mhm.
They are listening. Nobody reached back to me. And there were no reports in the media from other people that saw it.
Mhm.
It's huge. Somebody must have been looking up, or was it kind of just done for us? Right? Was this something that was winking at me and just letting me know and us because it disappeared? It
Mhm.
appeared. Had I not been looking, right? At
Mhm.
that point in the sky, if I'm looking over here, it comes and goes.
Right.
You don't see it. So was it done just for me? And I think that this happens a lot in our community where consciously there's a connection that happens. You're looking to the sky and you've got a positive attitude, and then suddenly something goes blop blop.
Yep.
Hello, right? And
Well,
I think it
yeah.
happens a lot. I'm sure it's happened to you.
The first time I did an activation in Mount Shasta in 2010, when we went off we started at Bunny Flats and then we hung a right, which is we walked the Eastern Ridge. I didn't know all these places were out of bounds, but we walked a very different path. But on that journey, that night we slept on the mountain, and I remember there was so much activity coming on the eastern side of Mount Shasta. I thought, Mike, to be honest, oh, this is just how it is here. ETs are known and it's an airport. I saw so many ships flying by that in my brain I was like, oh, it must literally be a starport. And up here in no man's land, they just let these things fly by and they're landing or going. I don't know where they're going, but it was so many ships were going by. I thought I was sitting at LAX. And I'm like, oh, this is just how it is. Again, in my awakening in 2010. Sedona has a lot of activity out here. You know what I mean? And I know you know that. And especially you have a lot of activity out there. So we're used to seeing stuff in our skies. I know Sheila has her night vision tours, best tours of Sedona. And, she goes out there with those class 4 military grade night vision
Mhm.
goggles. There's
I
so
have
much
them.
stuff. Yeah, there's so much
I have
stuff going on. Hey, we
You
should
know what
go
I
to-
you know what I
I
do
want to
every
look
night?
off your back balcony
You know
right
what
by
I do every
Skunk
night?
Works and just sit there and yeah.
This is what I do every night
Yeah.
after Fade to Black. This is my favorite thing to do. After Fade to Black, I go upstairs onto my balcony. Now downstairs too on my back patio, I've got
Mhm.
binoculars and everything is just sitting out because you just don't know. You got to be ready when this
No, you
stuff
do.
happens, at daytime or nighttime. But at night, I go out and I show people all that they want. Hey man, can I see your balcony? Come on, yeah, I'll show. They want to,
Yeah.
and out there, I've got a chair, I've got a table, and I've got 2 or 3 pairs of night vision
Yep.
and binoculars, and I sit out there and I fire it up. I put my feet up on the railing,
And
I
just
rock
kick
that
back
chair
and
back,
yeah,
and go
yeah, yep.
straight to the sky, man.
Yep.
And you just never know. One night, and I think it's about location too as well. And I find it. I know this is talked about a lot, but this is from my own personal experience.
Mhm.
We only have one sky above us. As far as I know, there's not two. There's only one. Everybody's looking at the same thing. But why Sedona? Why Joshua Tree?
Mhm.
Right? Why Shasta? Why these specific locations when you go if you speak about Sedona, Phoenix is right down the road.
Mm.
Flagstaff is right down the road, and they don't get the action that Sedona gets.
No.
So I'm in Joshua Tree. I'll share this story with you. This is hilarious.
Okay.
I'm in Joshua Tree with Billy Carson. It's just me, Billy, and Elizabeth, and some friends, and we spent the weekend out there. And we drive over to Landers to Giant Rock, and we take my Jeep and we drive it up on top of this hill. I would say it's a mountain, but it's the top. We're already at an elevation, right? So we're just going up. Anyway, so we're up there. We've got some food, we've got some sandwiches, we've got chairs, and we've got our night vision and our lasers and stuff. And we're unfolding stuff and just starting to get settled. And it's about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. Off to the west from this mountaintop, the sun is still setting. So the sky is still a little blue. It's black, stars are out above
Right.
us. But if you look to the west, you know the drill. And I look and I see this gold ball of light low, and it's coming straight towards us. And I go, check that out, Billy. And we're standing there looking at it. It's coming right at us. Just coming just right at us. And Billy goes, all right, man. It's friggin' Billy. It's an airplane. Nobody points your lasers at it. No, we don't want the police to come up here and give it. I was like, okay, Uncle Billy. All right. And so, but it's getting closer. It's getting closer. And I put the night vision on it. I don't see any flashing. No, it's just a ball. I said, Billy, I'm not so sure that that's an airplane. Oh, it's an airplane. I said, okay, all right. I don't know. And this thing flies right over us. It's now at our 12 o'clock, and it stops and then turns and goes straight up and disappears. And Billy turns to me and he goes, well, I'm going to go on the record. That wasn't an airplane. and
That's so funny.
and now, yeah, and it was such an amazing experience, to see and to witness. I don't know why Joshua Tree. I don't. Now that sighting, right, like this, nobody sees that in Los Angeles. And Los Angeles is 60 miles away, right? Nobody sees that from 29 Palms Marine Base, which is 30 miles that way. But right where we are is this UFO highway, like you just mentioned. And it's just incredible. So I think locations have a lot to do with it. I just don't know why.
I think for example, the red iron oxide that's in the soil out here mixed with that quartz silica does have a higher amplification. I know that during the monsoon season out here in Sedona, we get all those lightning strikes that hit that iron oxide and all the red rocks. That's why they call them red rocks. I know it actually does amplify the field and the charge coming from the ground compared to
that makes sense.
areas. Yeah, so I mean there is a scientific reason from it. The iron oxide definitely can hold a charge with, and there's a lot of quartz in the sand out here. I think the answer to the question would be not so much what it looks like on the surface out in Joshua Tree. Obviously Mount Shasta has a lot of things going on, but out here in Sedona, but I would say really what's going on in the ground.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What's going on down,
You're right, because right below us is Giant Rock, which is the biggest red granite freestanding boulder in the world, right? It's like 10 stories. It's huge. Have you seen Giant Rock?
No, I haven't. I have to check it out.
George Van Tassel, who lived underneath it, he had an apartment that he dug out, and he lived there with his wife. Very famous place. And of note historically,
Mhm.
but he was one of the first contactees. And in 1950, he was down there at Giant Rock. His wife had a restaurant down at the Rock. She
Mhm.
made apple pies, and people would come out, and he had a dirt airstrip next to it, and he had a plane, and he would land it. And Howard Hughes went out there a lot. This is not like pop culture mythology. This
Right.
is, all part of the historical record. He worked for Hughes, and Hughes was a good friend. And Hughes would fly out from L.A. to have apple pie, and then fly back to L.A. Well, but that is a red granite boulder. It
Mhm.
takes 10 minutes to walk around it. It's
Huge.
like it's the biggest ball. And now, if there's anything that's going to be a charged antenna, it would be
Mhm.
something like that, right? And the whole
100%.
hill is full of quartz and crystals. There's a crystal field, they call it, on the other side with these. It's insane. So there's a lot of energy that's locked up there. Well, George Van Tassel in 1950 got woke up in the middle of the night, uh, felt drawn to go outside. He goes outside, and there's a flying saucer sitting there, and
Mhm.
he meets and took a ride on it. So that's Joshua. So something,
Something's
something
going on
is
there for
going
sure.
on in Joshua Tree, and I just find it not only so compelling, but also a whole heck of a lot of fun. Right?
Oh
You
yeah,
just
no,
you just don't know.
it's exciting. I think with a lot of the stuff that we're doing collectively with sharing our experiences, I know that when me and you were in Alaska, I know you watched one of my presentations, and since you're
I
kind of
did.
like the hostess with the mostest, and I think you did learn um, some things that you felt interesting. I remember I think I told you guys how to use your fingers and how to move energy, and there you had a
Yeah,
lot of
man, I was a
questions.
sponge. No, man,
Yeah,
I was a
you had a
sponge.
lot of.
Wait, you know
Yeah, go
what was
ahead.
interesting?
Yeah.
So okay, so the audience knew you.
Okay.
They knew the information, right? And I was listening, and the question, and I am just like trying to sponge it up,
Hmm.
but I'm watching everybody go through
Hmm.
the steps with you. And I just found that absolutely
Okay,
fascinating,
what
man. I
else is
told
cool that we learn how to do? Do you guys all know how your fingers work? Do you know what each of your fingers do? All right, let's do this. Put your hands up. Let's do it. Okay. Pinky, earth. Earth. That's your earth finger. Index, water. Okay. Middle finger, fire. That's when you give someone the bird. You give them the fire. Yeah, calm down, Sweden back there. I see you. Okay. Pointer finger, wind. Okay. What's your thumb? Intent. What do I want to do? Right? What do I want to do with all of these? So, Jimmy, if I go like this, what energy am I calling to myself? Go like this. Copy me so you never forget. Boom. Wind. Okay. Go like this. What's one? This one. Middle finger. Thumb.
win with kicking ass.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's just fire. No, we're going to get complicated. Yes, I do. Okay, here we go. Index, water, earth. Okay. Now, when Yeshua's going like this, what's he doing?
Slinging mud.
He's slinging a laser. So, we got wind and fire, and his intent, his intent is on the balancing of the water on earth. So, he's going like this. This is not just this is like a lightning bolt to God. Can you hear me now?
Why Sedona? Goes back to possibly the iron oxide. What's going on with the geology there?
The
Not
frequency, the
now,
energy.
not today, not
Yeah.
today. Well, yes, today,
Mhm.
but for millions of years,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And Bell Rock, when you pull into town and you see that, is there anything more majestic in the
You
United States? Is there anything more majestic than
I've been
Bell
all
Rock?
around the world. When you drive in there and you look to your right and you see that majestic mountain there, your energy feels it. It's not just a sight thing. It's not like, oh, it looks pretty. No, you feel like everything's being pulled up into the air. I mean, there is an energy shift definitely around Bell Rock and a Cathedral Rock. And even Thunder Mountain where I live.
Yeah, Thunder
But
Mountain.
it is definitely a frequency shift.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure, for sure. It your energy, you're right about that. There's a shortness of breath, there's an
Mhm.
anticipation, there's an amplification because it's that powerful. It's that
Mhm.
powerful. And so for Bashar, I can almost picture it in my mind's eye the way he describes it. I can see the ship coming, kind of like Devil's Tower, right?
Right.
Close Encounters. That's what it reminds me of. And
No, it does.
do you think now we have what Bashar has said,
Mm.
but Sedona is a special place. Do you think that one day you would be able to see something like that happen directly, just right there for everybody, just right over Bell Rock?
I think that not only is a probability, but you actually have to run the numbers. So let's run the numbers of residents of Sedona. Uh, 12 to 15,000 residents, over 2 million visitors a year. If you're talking about the people that actually live out here, year round, and the type of energy that we have to get used to live here, I would say
Mhm.
contact is absolute. And a lot of us, I think, are being prepared for contact on the regular. Like I said, in having conferences and having the right people, the right voices, and the right consciousness and vibe. Really, it's how are we going to explain some of these changes to the planet? And I think that Sedona, just like you said, like what's the big deal about Bell Rock? It's not just a United States thing. It's a planetary thing. And I think
For
there are,
sure.
yeah, I mean, there's a 2 or 3 places on the planet that may have a similar, situation when we do get contact like Bell Rock. As far as the United States, I see that, I mean, unless you can name another, you know what I mean? I think that'd be definitely top 2 in the States as far as a spiritual place on earth. I would say
Mhm.
definitely Sedona is in the top 2,
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah. I agree with that.
Mhm.
And for anybody that's thinking about heading out to Rise of the Guardians, which
Mhm.
is March 28th and 29th, if you're on go. You're
Yeah, come
never,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just go hang out with a bunch of really cool people and go through the experience. And if anything else, just get exposed to something and maybe you'll pick something up. But if you're somebody that has made contact or is an experience or
Mhm.
of any and you haven't done it, go because everything that you are seeking is going to be there. And
Mhm.
I'll share this. We have a mutual from Michael of Sedona, right?
Yes.
A great guy and supposedly a guitar player, but that remains to be seen. But anyway, Michael's a great guy, and
Yeah.
so I go out to Sedona. I don't know. This was last year and he's like, Jimmy, man, I got it. I'm going to take you to a couple of my. I said, okay, let's go. And so I've got my gear, I've got my night vision, and he takes me up to the airport. And this is what happens, Rion. You're going to laugh because this is like Tuesday in Sedona, right?
Right.
It's just, but for me, it was pretty cool, and I've seen a lot of stuff. So for me to get excited or to go, well, it's got to be, at a certain level.
Mhm.
And so anyway, we go up to the airport. We drive out to the edge of the cliff. I've got my Jeep. He's got his that gunship thing that what is it? It's like a suburban or something
He's
with the
got like an
turret on the thing.
ET with like a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
It's
a
pretty
50
cool.
cal. I know it's cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's
He
pretty
went
cool.
all in. It looks good.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So we go up and we park on the edge of the cliff and we're looking over Sedona. Now I get out of my Jeep. I have my backpack and I
Mhm.
put my backpack on the ground and I unzip it. I'm pulling out my gear. I just turned it off.
Mhm.
Right? I get out of the Jeep, put my backpack on the ground. I'm unzipping it. I'm bending over, and something catches my eye to the right. I'm facing my Jeep. Sedona's to my left. The airport is to my right, right? The
Mhm.
runway. And something catches my eye. And I look, and there's this white light coming straight at us. Low, too, by the way. It was low. And I went, huh, wow, that's interesting. But it's over the airport. It's not landing. Huh. And I just kind of just look at it and man, it is what it is. It was a flying saucer. This thing was white, and it flew right over it. Now, off in the distance, it was oval shaped, but as it came, and it was just flew right over us, man. And I'm like, and it was white. It was a little glowy in the middle.
Mhm.
And it flies right over Sedona. And I'm standing on the edge of the cliff, like, huh.
Yeah.
We were all watching it, and it just flew and just kept going slow. We watched it, Rion. We watched it for like 3 minutes.
Yep.
It wasn't like,
No.
no, it just like cruised right over us, low. But when it got over me, it was probably the size of a dime. If you held a dime in your hand, you
Yeah,
know,
that's still a
about
good
that big.
size with your naked
Oh,
eye,
it was low. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And flew over and then went over the forest and just kept going and disappeared. And I thought, welcome to Sedona.
No, and fucking
It was
and with that-
amazing.
yeah, and with that, my brother, listen, everyone out there on Earth, come out to Rise of the Guardians. Come hang out with your brother Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, Coast to Coast, my brother. But I still got your Fade to Black T-shirt, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm
right on.
I'm
Right on.
rocking that. You know what I mean? Under my blazers. But no, it's
Well,
nice.
I'm gonna be hosting. I'm gonna be hanging out with you and David Palmer. We've got
Yes.
the prom. We're gonna do a dance. We're gonna do a Skywatch. I'm
We
gonna
got
do a
night vision.
presentation. Yeah.
Night Vision tours, Vortex tours, which will be post conference, which is going to be Monday and Tuesday. And we also have a post conference that we're planning right now for us. But the main conference is March 29th and March 30th, 2025. So
It's going to be great. Everybody, just go. It's Rise of the Guardians. There's links right now available to you. Click, go, and check out everything that we've got scheduled for that weekend. It's Friday and Saturday. I think the dance. I just said dance.
We're Saturday and Sunday, the 29th and the 30th, and the dance is going to be Saturday night. I believe it starts at 8 p.m. And then Palma is just going to be crushing.
I'm telling you, I'm going to waka.
Dude, I know you're going to come. I know you're going to come in
scratch.
hot. I know you're coming hot.
Coming in hot. Coming in
Well-
hot. Rion, thank you so much, man.
Yes.
Team Light and everybody. Just thank you. This is going to be a great event.
Mhm.
And for me personally, this is what I love to do, is just to go and hang out and get my knowledge on. Thank you so much, brother.
Hey, brother, much love. Till next time. Peace.
Thor, we need your help to win this battle. Let's go.
Come on, Storm. Back to work. Let's hurry, okay? People are dying. See you down there.
Well done, everybody. We can collectively take credit for that because we worked as a team. We used our hearts and our minds to defeat the enemy with minimal loss or damage.
Take me far away